What's Ripe on YouTube. So in my last video, it was called The Success of Succession, or Observing the Success Within Succession. And I want to point something out that I think a lot of people miss. I've been seeing, if any of you guys are watching the fellow YouTubers out there, you've probably seen people planting a big diversity of fruit trees and bananas and other things underneath an oak canopy, much like what I have here. That's not what I was talking about in the last video. In the last video, what I showed you was a disturbance. The tree came down, the remaining biology was there, but there was new sun, and there was a big disturbance. That pruning, or that tree coming down, is a huge stimulus for regrowth. What you're seeing in some of these other YouTuber videos, and I hate to throw shade because that's not really my style, but when you plant things in a mature system, you plant a new fruit tree in there, I guarantee you it will struggle. Will it survive? Will it survive because you've got a microclimate underneath those trees? You're going to have less frost and some wind protection, sure. But will the tree thrive? Will it be productive? Most of the time, no, because what you're doing is planting, generally most fruit trees that we plant are high strata, maybe medium high, or maybe even high emergent strata. Most of the fruit tree crops that you're thinking of, especially here in Florida, need almost full sun or pretty close to it. So can you plant those trees under a canopy like this and have them survive? Sure. Is it productive? Probably not. So think about what you're planting and where, and I know it's really tempting, and we all want to push our zone and we want to have things that are hard to have. But for production, if you're going to plant in a system like this, what you're going to have to do is bring in light. So you're going to have to make a big prune. You might have to pull out some trees. Most people aren't going to have the stomach to do that, to clear or to cut down existing trees and forests. And I'm not telling you that that's what you should do, although there are times when it's appropriate or necessary. But just keep that in mind. If working in a forest is not the same thing as developing an agroforest. You can do it, and there are some tricks and tips, and I've talked about some of them on this channel over the years. But when you're planting a food forest underneath an existing canopy, I challenge you to show me a really, really successful one. When you plant it with trees that create shade in the process, and you're pruning those back and you're stimulating the growth, that's where the magic sauce is. Trying to plant into an old system, you have young, hungry trees trying to compete with big resource heavy oaks or things that are really well adapted and have basically dominated the space above and below the soil. You're going to have a trouble unless you prune them back. So putting that out there. If you guys have questions about that, let me know. It may not seem obvious. Some of you are going to challenge what I've said. Some of you are going to say, yeah, no duh, of course that's right. But I want to create some conversation, so let's hear what you guys have to say about it. I would say if you're going to plant things that are appropriate to your zone, keeping in mind their need for light and their soil requirements, and progress your agroforestry to them rather than trying to plant them into an existing forest. It's just a tough way to do things, and that's just my 2 cents. We'll see you next time.